streak is a streak. The awards. The most thing I'm proud of is winning.
Shea pulls up at the free throw line and spits it. His excellence shines, and the Thunder prevail here on SGA's historic.
Shea Cornett, Brian Windhorst is here along with Vince Goodwill. Do we have superstitions? No? It's just a regular day to everyone? No. Okay. Shouldn't have asked with the delay.
I'm not superstitious.
Well, I didn't even know till you told me, to be honest with you.
It's because it's early where he is. All right, let's go to last night in Oklahoma City. The Thunder and the Celtics, they battled until the very end, but it was the Thunder that came away victorious, notching their 7th straight win since SGA returned from injury, by the way, after the All-Star break. Shea dropped 35 points. The Celtics were impressive without Jason Tatum and Derek White. More on SGA, though. It was his 127th straight game with 20 points, passing Wilt Chamberlain for the longest streak in NBA history. The last time he scored fewer than 20 points was October 30th of 2024, or nearly 500 days ago, however you want to keep track. Wilt's record stood since 1963. Here was SGA postgame.
14 points for you in the fourth, 2 big free throws from Chet. How would you describe just your overall?
All the records and accomplishments are great, but they don't matter if you don't win. And that's all that was on my mind. I was having a terrible game to that point. Didn't like how I started. I started sluggish. And I wanted to just focus on getting the car back on the road and making sure we walked out of here with a W. If we lost, I would have been pissed and would have gave the record for the W any day of the week. So I'm glad we won and I got the record.
Gotta love SGA's mentality. Look, the Celtics had no Jason Tatum, they had no White, and yet they still only lost by 2. So when we reflect back on what we watched last night, yes, the greatness of SGA, but a Thunder victory, do we think this was maybe a finals preview? Wendy, what do you think?
It was first off, it was a great game to watch, as so many games involving the Thunder have been this year, and Shea was awesome at the end. It was absolutely the epitome of why the Celtics are so highly regarded and why they have only increased their respect level in the NBA during this season, because no Jason Tatum, no Derek White. And yet you watch them play this game and watch them fight in the margins and stay in it with, in this game, offensive rebounding and transition basketball, and Jaylen Brown just, hunting for shots, hunting for efficiency, getting to the line so many times. They're just such an impressive culture, the way the Celtics attack games. And so what happened at the end of this game, Shea was great. In the fourth quarter, he had 14 points. They kept going to him. They were attacking. He was doing his spot where he gets to his mid-range. But they were attacking Baylor Shireman. And with all due respect to Baylor Shireman, who's having a breakout second season with the Celtics, if this was a playoff game and Tatum and White were in the game, that would have been a different situation. In that end of game situation would have been a different setup. And I kind of wonder whether or not the Celtics didn't even want to show. I don't know. Joe Mazzulla double-teamed Shea on the last possession of the game, and it led to an Alex Caruso 3. I wonder if in a playoff series, Vince, they're not double-teaming Shea a lot earlier and defending him a lot differently. So while I give OKC credit for winning a game that they didn't have their whole team for, this just made me believe that this indeed could be the finals matchup.
Vince, go ahead.
Yeah, Wendy. Wendy, you are famous for making June reservations at a bunch of different places. I'm sure you got some June reservations made in Boston. I might have to join you at this point. I think I'm looking at the Celtics last night. They shot 40% from the field. They didn't shoot well from 3. And yet, like you said, not even Jaylen Brown had a good game. He was 10 for 25, and he was manufacturing offense in the fourth quarter. He might not have to do that if Jason Tatum is there in a reasonable version of himself. Derek White, I think, is going to benefit more than anybody else from the reinsertion of Jason Tatum back into the fold. He's going to get better looks. He's going to get worse defenders in his face for closeouts and chances for him to create his own offense. Like, I know I've said before that I didn't believe in the Celtics as a team that could make the NBA Finals until I was able to see it. Remember last night, they were also without Nikola Vucevic, who's out for the next few weeks with a broken finger. So they have 3 rotation pieces who were not there on the road against the defending champions, against the MVP, who had a monster fourth quarter, and it took all of that to beat them. So, yeah, I'm impressed with Oklahoma City, but this is what they do. They win close games. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of the best, if not the best, fourth quarter closer in the league, at least as far as a decision maker. But the Celtics grinding their way to staying in this game and possibly stealing it, I couldn't come away more impressed than the Celtics than I was last night.
Really quick, you mentioned how they were able to close out
games. Can I just say two things about Shai?
Yes, go ahead.
So whenever you break a Wilt Chamberlain record, especially one that stood like this for any record that stood for 60 years, it's an incredible moment. But I just want to give two pieces of information that will shape kind of what accomplishment we seeing and what Wilt did. First off, okay, 127 consecutive 20-point games. Just so you know, if you want to take the two greatest scorers of this era, Kevin Durant and LeBron James, the most Durant ever had in a row was 72. That's a whole season. That's awesome. Shai's got 55 more. And the most that, LeBron, by the way, Shai at one point had 1,200 consecutive double-digit games, which is a record that's probably going to stand the test of time. LeBron's the most 20-point games LeBron's had in a row was 49. He's got 70-something more than that. So I just want to put in perspective, even standing next to the peers he's got in this era, Shai's accomplishment in this streak is amazing. The other thing I want to point out, just to focus, because I know we're focused on the season, but I just want to focus on the streak for just 1 second. Wilt Chamberlain, when this streak ended, it ended because he got ejected 4 minutes into a game. That's when the streak ended. And there was a lot of, if Stephen A was around back then, he would have been screaming about, how unfair that was, just like we would scream about anything about Bam Adebayo. So I will just point out that who knows how long that streak would have been had he not gotten ejected. But I'd also say Shai might have beaten that streak too.
Yeah. And for some more context, Shai has not played in 35 fourth quarters during this streak, too. So he's been doing it in the beginning of games as well, which is equally as impressive. Let's go back to the game last night, though. There was a situation, and situation's a loose term here, with Jaylen Brown. He scored 34 after being ejected earlier in the week against the Spurs for having 2 techs. He went back at the officials post-game, though, on foul baiting. Listen to this.
I don't know, maybe it all works in the end, but, I don't foul bait. I'm not looking to, flop or anything like that, but it's almost like you got to. It's almost like because there's a couple plays in the fourth quarter where I feel like I drove strong, went up strong, and I didn't get the benefit of the doubt. But maybe if I would have flopped, maybe I would have been able to sell that call, and those decide games.